Hey everybody, I am here today to talk to you about my cicada dream. Yeah, I'm looking for my lens. Make sure I'm looking directly in the camera. So I'm here to talk to you today about my cicada dream story, and I am going to share what happened in the dream, the research that I did on cicadas. I'm trying to correlate the two in this video between the dream and the cicada's life, and trying to figure out what God has possibly said to me through this dream. So let's get right into it. So hey, how you doing? So the dream that I had about a cicada, I dreamt that I was in my bathroom. I don't remember what I was doing in the bathroom, but I had a dream that I was standing in my bathroom trying to come out of the bathroom. The door's open, and then I noticed that there was a cicada on the door frame. And then I noticed it was another cicada right underneath that on the door frame. And then on the other side of the door frame, there were two more cicadas. And then I believe I seen maybe another one or two on the actual door. So there was about 5 to 6 cicadas that I saw on the door. So now I am freaking out because I'm a person who, I don't like insects at all. I don't like insects. Like, I am scared of baby roaches. And so I'm freaking out because I'm like, I gotta get out the bathroom, and that means I have to zoom past these cicadas that are on the door that I have to go through. So I'm trying to go out, and then all of a sudden I remember my uncle standing in the doorway. My uncle was standing in the doorway, and I'm telling him, let me out. There are cicadas on the door. And he would not move. So now I'm getting frustrated, and I start screaming at the top of my lungs in a way that I usually don't remember screaming in dreams, except for one other dream that I had when I was in a car crash. I don't remember screaming in dreams the way that I was like panicking because I don't play with bugs. And then I remember he kept telling me, look to your right. And I know to my right, there's a bathroom mirror. And so I'm scared to look because I'm thinking he's trying to make me look at like a super humongous, gigantic one. And he just wants me to see it out of his own fascination. Like, that's really what was going through my head. He would not let me by. He kept saying, look to your right. And the more he would not let me through and kept telling me to look to my right, the louder my screams got. I was not with it. And then I remember thinking in my head, if there's like 5 to 6 cicadas on the door, I can't imagine how many are around me in this bathroom, on the walls and on the ceiling, on the shower backsplash. Like, they probably all around me, and I refuse to turn around and look. So I remember I just kept screaming at the top of my lungs, and my uncle would just not move. And that's all I remember from the dream. Now, I looked up dream dictionaries, and I couldn't find much info about the significance of a cicada in a dream from dream dictionary sources. From what I can remember, it was just talking about that dream is probably a sign of regeneration and stuff like that. Like, that's really all it was saying. It didn't give much detail. But when I looked up, cicadas and what they actually are and what their life is about, I see that cicadas, like most insects, are good for the ecosystem. I saw that cicadas live, underground for a very long time period, like up to 17 years. And that every 17 years around the summertime, they come from underneath the ground to repopulate. So they're referred to as summertime bugs, and every about 17 years, they come from underneath the ground as full grown adults. That means they spend most of their life underground, and that, you know, they feed off of sources like juices and nutrients from the root of trees that's underneath the ground, and that's how they grow. They get to a full grown adult size, and then at that 17-year mark, around the summertime, they come out, they fly usually in swarms, and they reproduce. And then they survive for maybe about a week above ground, and then their eggs fall back into the soil underneath the ground, and then a whole regeneration of cicadas cycle start all over again, and then an adult cicada pretty much dies, and then that's that, right? And I also saw that the male cicadas make noise from their stomachs too. So these are the things that I remember from the research. How I related that to my dream. Well, first of all, the cicadas in my dreams did not make noise. I don't remember hearing noise. They were just still in the bathroom. They weren't flying. They was just on the door frame, still and not moving. The fact that they are summertime insects was very significant to me, because without revealing what God has called me to, God has called me to do something huge this summer. And so the fact that cicadas have an appointed time every like 17 years to come out in the summer to regenerate and repopulate, I thought that was very significant. I feel like what God has called me to do this summer, maybe in a dream, that was him showing me that my time for rebirth is coming this summer, and there's going to be a repopulation, and he's going to have me producing fruit in a major way this summer, in a way that's going to rebirth something that I need to. I'm like, okay, you know, this summertime decision that he had me make, it's a sign of birthing something and producing fruit, right? And an old life in me is going to die and pass away, and I am going to give birth to something new, and in my life I'm going to start a whole new cycle of living or whatnot. So that's how I kind of correlate the two. But then knowing that they are like underground insects and they spend most of their lives underneath the ground, to me, I felt like that was speaking to how I be feeling overlooked. A lot of times I feel overlooked. I feel walked over. I feel ignored. I feel like people don't pay any attention to me. They don't show me the same love that they show other people. And I see signs of that, and I experience that all the time, especially on social media. I just feel like people ignore me and like I'm not seen. So it was ironic how cicadas live most of their lives underground, and I dreamt about cicadas, and I felt like God was just telling me I'm in a season where I am planted. I am underneath the ground. He is working on me. He's working on me, and he's building me up, and he's giving me everything that I need and providing all the nutrients and things that I need to grow while underneath the ground. And that my appointed time is coming this summer, to where when he called me to what he's called me to, then I'll be seen, then I'll produce the fruit. But right now, it's not my appointed time to be seen. I am in a season where I have to be not seen, looked over, underground, being built up, just like the cicadas. And so I felt like it spoke to that. You understand what I'm saying? And then the last thing that was significant to me in that dream was how my uncle would not move out of the way when I was frightened and terrified and panicking about the cicadas that I felt were surrounding me. And screaming to the top of my lungs, my uncle did not budge. He would not move. He was so adamant about getting me to look to my right. And I had my own assumptions about what he was trying to get me to look at. The way it came off in the dream was as if my uncle was like, this is something you need to see. That's why I'm not moving. I am begging you to turn and look to your right. In my head, I'm like, all I am focused on is what I see surrounding me. And I feel like if I turn to my right, I'm going to see a big, gigantic mother of cicadas. And you just trying to make me look at what doesn't scare you, but it's going to freak me out. And that's what I was assuming. But, you know, part of me is like, maybe it really was something that I needed to see, and that my uncle knew would make me feel relief. And it was like an answer to something, maybe. And that's why he was not moving and trying to get me with all his might to look to my right, and I just would not budge. And then the dream ended as such. There was like no solution in the dream. I just woke up. I think that maybe my uncle was a representation of God, and how in life we find ourselves standing in the midst of things that seem so scary, and we're focused on the details that frighten us, and God is trying to get us to look at something specific that he knows will help us, that will bring us relief, that will be an answer. But we are so focused on our fear and the things that scare us, and God is like, oh my gosh, if you just look this way. And so that was not the case with me. But I feel like the dream could have played out differently if I would have looked to my right to see what it was that my uncle was trying to get me to view. And so just like in real life, when things have been feeling scary for me, based on what God has called me to do this summer, I've seen a lot of things that worry me and concern me. And I think God through this dream was saying, look to where I call you to look. Focus on me, not on the things that seem scary, and trust me enough to turn the way that I need you to turn. And so, yeah, I feel like the cicada dream might have been God trying to show me to trust him when it's scary. That's all I'm sharing for today. We'll discuss more in the next dream story videos. See you soon. Peace.